In the month of May 2022, I decided to summit this 14,000 feet tall mountain in the state of Washington called Mount Rainier. Looking back, it has been one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life. This whole adventure pushed me spiritually, physically, and mentally, but I was so unsure at the time whether I was supposed to do this crazy thing. I want to make this video to share some of the lessons I've learned in the hope that it will help other people who are navigating a lot of uncertainty or hardship in their life. So just to give context about me, I'm here on a work visa, and a lot of times I'm not able to get this exact job that I want, or take a break to go see family for extended periods of time, or start a business. I know that this is nothing compared to all the troubles that people are going through. At that time, like it does for all of us, that problem seemed to be the biggest problem in my life. I remember like watching Jeff Bezos' regret minimization framework. He talks about putting yourself at the age of 85 and like thinking about all the choices you have made and being grateful and happy for it. And I was thinking, am I going to regret not getting the job I really want, or take care of my parents, or like take care of my health and take a break and travel and so on? Will I regret it? So all of these were causing a lot of pressure for me, and I was really seeking something to do which will like shake me and reset my physical and emotional state. In the city of Seattle, you cannot escape Mount Rainier wherever you go. So it's so majestic, at least in the summer. You can see it everywhere you drive. So I just naively decided, okay, I'm going to climb that. Little did I know that I was totally unqualified for the climb. I did not have any skills in mountaineering, but then I just signed up. I just signed up for a guide group and I just started training for it. I would love to make a more detailed video on the training program and what I bought and the food and which guide group I went with and so on in a future video. And I would like to focus this video on the lessons I've learned. So the first lesson I learned was doing extremely hard things, whether it be physically demanding or mentally demanding or emotionally demanding things, gives you clarity of thought. Oftentimes we are white knuckling through life, it feels like. What I mean by that is like we are just attacking whatever the next problem is. Your partner is mad at us or something bad happened at work, we are solving that particular problem. Rarely do we step back and zoom out and actually ask us what we really want. We're constantly hustling, we're constantly moving around. An intense activity like Rainier really puts you in place and gives you perspective. So the Rainier expedition happens during the period of 3 to 5 days. And the first couple of days is training and you reach the base camp and you acclimatize. The real challenge begins third or the fourth day, depending on the weather, when you make the summit push. And you start early in the morning when there is absolutely like pitch dark. It's extremely cold. During that climb, when everything was so difficult, I kind of forgot about the problems around my visa. All I could think of was one step in front of the other. Am I placing my feet on the rope? Am I going to be inconveniencing or delaying the people behind me? Am I going to step into a crevasse? Do I have enough water? Do I have enough food for the next break? I was only able to think about these limited set of questions over and over again. The second lesson I learned from summiting the mountain is this philosophical concept called hedonic adaptation. I grew up in a very stable but middle class family in India, and my parents sacrificed a lot to send me over to the United States. And just like that, in the year 2022, after living in the United States for 10 years, I forgot all about my journey coming here for school and getting my first job and climbing the corporate ladder. And I had wanted to always seek more. And this is what psychologists refer to as hedonic adaptation. A lot of people here, if they have 2 houses, they would want to aspire to more than that. I understand that's part of the capitalistic experience in the United States, but I do think there is value to spending some conscious time thinking about how far you have come. I do still have ambitions, and it's perfectly fine to always want more than what you currently have, but it is also good to once in a while have memories of where you come from and be proud of it. I think related to this lesson was another lesson around the victimhood complex, which I had developed over COVID, especially when I was working from home a lot. Jonathan Haidt, in his book, The Coddling of the American Mind, talks about how a lot of people, especially people who are middle class or upper middle class, they fall into the victimhood complex where they ascribe blame to everybody except themselves. They think they're entitled to certain things. I don't know if it's because of the hedonic adaptation where I had lived in the United States for so long. I got into the mindset of thinking my visa problems or my career problems are someone else's fault. I think the Rainier expedition really forced me to think about that in more detail. What I come out from the experience is it is really my fault. I chose the life here. I chose to migrate here. I do have to take responsibility over that decision. The fourth lesson actually hit me after I came back home and I had my first meal and I took my first shower. I had not slept comfortably for over 5 days. Now I had eaten mainly cookies and cheese and mountain food for the most part. So I was craving pizza, and the pizza I had was the best pizza I have ever had in my life. The shower felt so good, and that night I slept so well. They refer to this experience as emotional acceleration. If you talk to Navy SEALs, people who have been deployed in foreign countries, or ultra marathoners, or people who go on long travel expeditions outside their own country and then they come back, they say that they have experienced the same thing. And I think the reason is because we take these day-to-day normal things as granted for most of our lives. When I have pizza on a regular day, I generally don't feel so elated because I kind of take it for granted. When I eat my pizza after such a grueling exercise, I feel like I really deserve it. That really hits differently. The final lesson I learned was this concept of abundance or abundance mindset, which I realized I did not have. I always had thought of everything as a competition and as a fight for resources. In other words, I was thinking everything was a zero-sum game, and the Rainier climb unlocked something in my brain, and I felt like everything was a positive-sum game. If I lost some friends because of something I did not do, it was probably meant to be, and I would get better friends. If I did not get a job interview, and I would get a better job later. Since having that mindset, I have observed a lot of wonderful things have happened in my life. When I just do my job without anticipating a promotion, when I go to a meetup without anticipating relationships or friendships to form, it seems to just happen organically. I did learn other lessons around community. I think when you do a hard physical activity like this, the bonds you make with the people you climb with are some of the strongest because you have gone through an extreme physical activity with another person. I'm sure there'll be questions on whether people need to do hard physical and demanding challenges to ground themselves and get out of the comfort zone and reset their life. I think there are other ways to simulate similar experiences. I've heard things about prayer and meditation, about music, about reading a really good book. All of these, in a lot of ways, produces similar experiences. I do believe there is something to doing something so drastically different from what you're accustomed to in your day-to-day life, which will shake you to your core, and hopefully you will come out a better man or a better woman out of that experience. Summiting Mount Rainier unexpectedly changed my life for the better in so many ways. It gave me so much self-confidence, new friends, and lessons on being mindful. I do think in today's world, especially if you work in a corporate job, that is so hard to come by. And I really hope everybody who's watching this pushes themselves out of their comfort zone.